Hi everyone, it's Leslie here from Stamping Up with Elegant Edges, and today it's Friday when I'm recording this, and I have a new fun fold for you. I'm going to use on my fun fold, my papers collection is going to be the lovely Delightful Wishes, this gorgeous paper here. It's a mixture of delicate yellows, pool party with little touches of old olive and pecan pie. And it comes with designer series paper and printed vellum, and I'm going to be using stamps and dies. Okay, so that's what I'm using today. This is a prototype of my fun fold card. Now, I've seen it made with 12 by 12 white card. Excuse me, I'm a bit croaky. But I wanted to use coloured card, and I don't have every single colour of the 12 by 12 inch card. I know they don't make it in every colour, so I've redesigned it for use with A4. So I'm going to be using the stamps and dies, and I'm also using elements from Hearts of Elegance. I'm using this very pretty heart-shaped die and the medium size outline die. So I'll put that to one side because I've cut my bits out ready. I'm going to put my stamps to one side because I've done a lot of the stamping. Can I just give you a tip which I wish I had seen or heard before I had actually done the preparatory stamping? Let me show you the stamps. And as you can see on here, it's a two-step stamp to make the pretty flowers. Let me show you the little pieces. So to make the flowers, you stamp first what I've stamped in Lemon Lolly with this sort of background, the whole piece stamp, which is this one. And then on the top, to get the sort of highlights that pick it out, there is an extra piece, which I've done then in the daffodil yellow. Make sure I get the right name. Daffodil Delight. Once you've done that, there's a stem to put in, and then after you did that, well, I did it in this order. Afterwards, I then added the leaves. Now they're all together, so you don't have to keep turning and moving things, which is great. But a tip I heard was that before you take them off this sheet, if you get a Sharpie or one of those pens that doesn't rub out, and you just mark the top of every one of these multi-stamps, you will then always be able to get them in the right order, then just have to wiggle them a little. If I'd only heard that before I did my stamping. So what I'm going to be doing next time is, once I've got it lined up, I will be adding my Sharpie to the edge of my stamp. So if you've either got this and haven't used it, or are thinking of buying it, it's brilliant, but I am going to use the Sharpie tip. So I'm going to put this to one side, okay? That was just my bookmark. Okay. So here's my fold, and I'm using Pool Party for my base. I will put all the dimensions in my Facebook group, which is Stamping Up with Elegant Edges, and you are welcome to go and join that. I often do PDFs, not always, but I often do a PDF, because I think it's easier to follow than to worry about the sizes on a YouTube video. Now, if I were using 12 by 12, I would just make this 2, 4, 8 and 10, the creases going down, so I had a double gatefold card. With A4, because it's smaller, I have to have a narrower piece, and I've done this at 1 15/16. Now that sounds horrendous, but if I just show you on my Stampin' Up trimmer, that is just invaluable. how I worked that out was, in the beginning, well, 2 inches is too big, so I just went back one little mark, just one of those tiny little marks on the trimmer, and that is exactly what you need. And for the next one, you go to 4 and then go back 2. The third one, obviously, you need to pull the arm out. That's 7 3/4. And then the last one is going to be 9 11/16. Okay, what I would advise you to do is to score it, fold it, and you will find that on this last edge there is a tiny bit extra. I couldn't quite get it to exact dimensions. So what I did was, once I'd scored it, folded it, and I could see it was too big, I popped that back in my trimmer and I measured that at 1 15/16 and cut it. You could, of course, always pop it over and just get your scissors and trim it. That's the easy way I found of doing it. Okay, so lovely pool party base. So on here I've got one of the lovely DSP. Oh, I cut it in one long strip, but obviously you don't have to, because you're only going to see little glimpses. But as I have cut it, I might just as well keep it in order. There, okay. So I like using wet glue. I'm going to start in the centre. And I chose this one because there's a sort of hint of pool party in the background. Whoops. Just centre that. Add the straps. Try and line it up top and bottom. Excuse me being so croaky. Just 2 little strips to go. Once you've got it scored and cut, this is a very easy card fancy fold to do. It looks quite impressive, but it isn't actually that difficult. But don't tell everyone, please. Right, so there is my double gatefold. Okay, nice and simple. Now, on my prototype, I have a piece in the centre and a piece on the outside. Now they are exactly the same size as this piece in the middle. They're just turned at an angle. So I have 2 pieces of my pool party. Let's just get them round the right way. I've got a little rough edge there. Just flatten it a little. Okay, so I have a piece to go on the front to sit diagonally. Once it's on the front, or before I stick it on the front, I'm going to cut that down here, right there, so I have 1 piece on each side. So I'm going to cut that now with my trimmer. So I'm going to put the top in the track. Just bring it down a little so you can see. Make sure the point is right in the track. I'm going to make sure the bottom is in the track. Hold down everything. Get my scoring blade out of the way. And just adjust a fraction. Start in the middle so that I don't scrunch up the points, which I managed to do there. Okay. actually meant to add this first. That was a bit silly of me, wasn't it? Never mind. We can sort that out. So, before you cut it like I did, put your designer series paper on the top. Okay. So make sure, if you've got a way, which is going to be the right way, well, I don't think it's going to matter because it goes in all directions. So as long as it goes there we are. So back together again. I'm going to pop it back in my trimmer, back in the track. Or if you're nervous about doing this, you could of course do it with a pair of scissors. There we go. All sorted. Right. Make sure I'm up the right way. And I'm going to put it this way up. And when I glue it down, I'm going to make sure that I go right to the edge of that fold on each side. Obviously I want it even top and bottom, so to do that I'm using my grid paper. So I'm just going to see 1, 2, there's 3 squares, 1, 2, 3. There we go. Now I don't want it over the whole of this. Because you can see from my prototype that the points stick out the sides. So I've got my fingers there. Get it back in the middle. Right to the edge. 1, 2, 3 I said. 1, 2, 3. That's about right. Is it on the edge of there? Just sneak it over a fraction. There we go. Turn it over. No glue showing. Marvellous. Okay. So do the same again. I'm holding so that I don't... Whoops. That was a little bit too much glue there. I'm just going to wipe that off with my finger. The good news about this is Tombow, or the all-purpose glue, is that it dries clear. So if you do that, you can always sort it out after. Now I'm just going to sneak that over a little bit to the right to the edge. Make sure my points line up. Which they do, nice and flat. Okay, so I'm just going to squish that, make sure it's really nice and adhered well, but I'm not going over the edges, otherwise it might have a dent. Okay, now what I want is a piece in the middle. What I tried was I can't remember the name. I saw somebody who had copied someone else's card and they'd put a slit in the side. So I tried it, but I didn't like that. So what I'm going to do is fold my card back up, put this in the middle, line it up with the front of the card and take a pencil. Right, this is the edge of the card. So I'm marking in pencil the edge of the card. When it gets stuck inside, I only want it to go as far as the end of the paper. And now it's there, I can see just where to pop it. So I'm going to put that now back in my trimmer. I'm looking for the inside mark, top and bottom. If in doubt, I'm going to cut it a little bit big because I can always take a bit off then. Trying to get it sort of parallel to that cut. So I'll check it's right before I rub out the pencil. Oh, that's not bad at all, is it? That's quite good. Is there a right and wrong side? You know, I don't think that matters. So that's good. I'm just going to check that when that's in there, I can line up the outside. Pretty much, yep, where all systems go. So again, I'm not gluing down the top and bottom, and I'm not going right up to the edge because I don't want my glue to squish out. I'm just laying it on there. I haven't pressed down. And then I can line up the points. Well, I can't see it, so it must be a little bit down the bottom. Just move it up a fraction. There we go. Needs to be nice and that's it. Yes, no glue at the outside edge. Brilliant. Okay. Right. Now I've got a piece to go on the inside. So I previously did that multi-step stamping, but I'm going to add, it looks a bit bare. I'm going to add, there is a stamp in the set. This one here, and it's sort of got like little dots with tiny dots all around it, and it's sort of, I picked that one because it looks very much like the pool party speckles in the designer series paper. So I'm going to add some around right. I'm going to add some around my image. So not too many, just enough to take off that plainness. Some on, some off. Okay, odd little specks, you know, I think that looks quite nice. I've got one there. Let me cover it up. That's better. I'll pop that away before I get in a mess. A bit of glue. And I like wet glue because I can... guess what I didn't do? I didn't trim it. So trusty pencil, and this time it'll have to be scissors. Trusty pencil and snips. There we are. Saved by the snips. Now if you want, I could have taken that in a little bit further, but I'm quite happy with that. Now for a decoration on the front, yeah. I have some pieces already cut. Before I do the front, I'm going to put a layer on the back to write on. Just some basic white card. Just leave pool party edge all round. And because it's a bit bare, I've fussy cut one of the flowers from the same paper as I have on the front of the card. Little decoration on the back. Okay, now I can do the front. So what I've got is the Hearts of Elegance, this beautiful die with the piercing on it, a plain edge die, obviously to mirror the blue in the background. So I'm going to layer those up first. I'm going to big bit there, and I'm just going to put dots around. I don't really want too much glue to come through those piercing holes. I'm going to push it up so that it kind of matches in the middle, and you can see a little bit of pool party all the way around the edge. So just hold it down. Where it's pierced, you get little raised parts underneath. Okay, so I'm going to stick that on the front, and I'm only going to glue one side, so I only need to go as far as the halfway mark, and I've gone less in case my glue squidges, technical term that, so I can see where to put the points of the heart there. Now in the stamp and die set, there is this lovely phrase wishing, which I've now squished having die cut it. Wishing. Okay, now I've die cut that in Pool Party. It's very, very delicate, and there's a mat that goes underneath it. So I'm going to put two of those white mats together. I've cut that in thick because I want it to be a little bit more substantial. So wet glue, let's make sure you can see what I'm doing. Dots would do, but just layer them up. Just imagine you're doing an eclipse card. Nice thing about wet glue is you do get that little maneuverability. Okay, now that's made it a lot more rigid. Now I could have cut this out with double-sided sticky paper, but I didn't. So I'm just going to put little tiny dots of glue. Hope you can see what I'm doing. They really are very tiny, and if you get too much, then you can just brush over it with your finger. Now I found the easiest way was to start with the H in the middle to get that lined up, and then the rest is not going to be so far out. going to pick that up, my pokey tool. There. Well, that was easy, wasn't it? Now, you'll notice that when I die cut the wishing in Pool Party, there were some dots that came out of the die. What I did was, before I poked them out, I put some, you could do this with masking tape, you could do it with post-it notes. This is Scotch tape, but it's removable Scotch tape. So this is upside down. So what I'm going to do is to pop the tiniest bit, I hope you didn't get my head then, on there. Okay. Pop it in position, and hopefully that's it. That's one. Here's my second one in position. And if it's not quite right, you can just move it a little bit with your pokey tool. So I found that was the best way of putting the dots on. Yeah, I've nearly killed that one, but that's fine. So it worked for me. And I'm going to pop this on the front. There's only a little bit that's really going to come off the end, so I must remember not to put glue on there. And I'm just going to put some little dots, or bigger dots than the other one, on there, but not on that very end piece. Maybe that was a bit too much there, so wipe that one off. Piece of scrap card under there in case I've got glue where it shouldn't be. There we are. I'll press that down, and if it sticks, that's fine. That will take the glue off. So there's my wishing. It's my picture in the middle. And then I have stamped and die cut You a Happy Birthday that I'm going to pop right across the middle. I'm not going to raise it on dimensionals because I want my card to close nice and flat. I'm just going to sort of centre that, and card is done. And you see, when it stands up on the points. It has a really nice profile. So there is the Pool Party one. If you're someone who likes to add extra layers to your card, I did one with Old Olive with an extra layer. The only thing I found was putting too many layers inside does make it very bulky, and then of course I needed one on the back. So it does add quite a lot of extra bulk to the card, but it looks, I think it looks lovely. So there are two versions, both with the delightful daffodils. It also comes with some little gold bees. I don't have those. I mean, I have some brass butterflies, which I might add just to pop around, but I think I like this one with the little blue speckles. I could add them here, I think, on that yellow one. So I hope you like the fold, and I'd like to thank Iced Images for the original idea, even though I changed the sizes, but out of a sheet of A4. If you've got smaller paper, if you've got letter size, what you could do obviously is join it here and overlap it at the back and hide it under there. So you can still use the same size and just join it at the back. Okay, so I hope you like that. Hop over to Stamping Up with Elegant Edges, and in a little while, it's not done yet, I will do a PDF and pop it on my Facebook group with all the sizes. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.